Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order the Presque City Council meeting for Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025. If you join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And we do have 7 out of 7 councilors present this evening.
Yay.
All right, let's get underway with item number 1 on our agenda. The public hearing we're looking for an approval for a special permit for music, dancing, and entertainment for the University of Maine at Presque with a location of 181 Main Street. Sonia, do you have anything for this? Or
Yep, Mr. Chair, our public safety staff have no issues with this, with passing this license tonight.
Looks to be like a pretty straightforward permitting process. Anybody from the audience like to address the council on this? Seeing none. Council, I would entertain a motion and discussion.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve a special permit for music, dancing, and entertainment for the University of Maine at Presque with a location on 181 Main Street.
Thank you, Mike.
Second.
Seconded by Craig. Any discussion, councilors? No. All good? All those in favor? 7-0, motion passes. Thank you. Moving along to item number 2 is we're looking for approval of a marijuana license renewal to Chad Junkins, doing business as Northern Euphoria LLC, located at 11 Davis Street. Sonia, would you like to address us on any hiccups or holdups or anything on this one, or is it?
Pretty standard. All requirements have been satisfied, and public safety raised no issues for
Very
those
well.
recommended.
Super. Anybody from the public like to address council on this one? Seeing none. Look for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve a marijuana license renewal to Chad Junkins, DBA Northern Euphoria LLC with a location 11 Davis Street.
I'll second it.
Very well. Any discussion, council? Seeing none. All those in favor? 7-0, motion passes. Moving right along to item number 3, also looking for an approval of a marijuana cultivation license renewal to Chad Junkins, DBA Northern Euphoria LLC, with a location at 11 Davis Street. Everything looks pretty well all set with this one too, as far as I can tell. Am I correct, Sonia?
Yes. Yep.
The application shows unpaid fees. Been resolved.
They come in and pay cash. Whether they come in and pay me check or cash. Online, they can do their credit card,
Oh, well,
or they can
okay.
come in and pay me cash.
But they are paid and,
Yep.
and all as well. All right, very well. Any comment from the audience on this? Seeing none, looking for a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move we approve the marijuana cultivation license renewal to Chad Junkins, DBA Northern Euphoria LLC with a location 11 Davis Street.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Craig and seconded by Hank. Any discussion, councilors? Seeing none. All those in favor? 7-0, motion passes. On to item number 4. We're also looking for another approval of a marijuana license renewal to Jonathan Martin, doing business as Cloud9 with the location of 28 Holton Road. This is just a renewal, and all looks well with his application. Is that correct, Sonia?
It is, approval is recommended,
Very
Mr.
well.
Chair.
Would anybody like to comment on this one or not? Seeing none, council?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve a marijuana license renewal to Jonathan Martin, doing business as Cloud9 with a location of 28 Holton Street.
Great, thank you, Harold. Second, anybody?
A second.
Seconded by Craig. No further discussion? All those in favor? 7-0, motion passes. On to item number 5. Okay. This is, we're looking for an approval of a malt, spirituous, and Venice license for Dana Cassidy, doing business as Shogun Japanese Hibachi and Sushi 150 LLC. There seems to be some issues with some unpaid taxes at this property. Is this something you would like to elaborate on for us, please,
Certainly,
Sonia?
Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much.
So all of the application is approved except for some outstanding taxes. So what the motion is before you is a request to approve the city clerk to sign off on this permit pending that 2003 and 2004 taxes are paid in full. The other option that you have is to table it entirely
Okay,
and replace it, put it on October agenda.
all right.
Is that taxes just for this building?
Yes, just that building.
Yep.
When does the license run out?
I'm not sure when they're temporary, because they have a temporary license right now, because the owner that owned it before, they don't know what happened to him, and so Dana's taken over the license.
So he's currently operating on somebody's
Some-
else potentially expired liquor license?
Yes,
Mhm.
it's a temporary license that they have until they get their full license.
You better get his stuff together here. Okay, so,
Do you wanna put a date on that?
well, a date or,
Well, the state will, if I don't sign off on it with the state will end the temporary.
okay,
If they don't come in and pay the taxes, I won't sign off on it, so they won't have a full license.
Right, so if we table it, then he'd be able to operate normal business, he just wouldn't be able to sell alcohol.
And there's no expiration on the temporary.
Yes, I believe there is, but I don't know what it is. That's through the state. I just know that will run out before October's meeting.
Oh, so it's
The
gonna
liquor
run,
license, the liquor inspector told me, that it would run out before October if they hadn't come in and paid.
Okay, so he needs to have this in order to keep
Yep,
operating.
so basically if you guys
Just selling
approve
booze,
both,
he can still operate and sell food, he just won't be able to sell
Well,
alcohol.
but yeah,
Yeah.
if you're gonna run a restaurant.
so basically if you approve it, once he comes in, I can just sign off on it and you'll be done.
so
Any other discussion?
we probably shouldn't approve it until he does come and pay.
Well,
Well,
that's
that's what
why
this-
I
that's
have
what
the
this
motion
motion
that
is.
way. You're giving me the authority, once he comes in, I can sign it and
Okay.
be done with it.
All right,
in that tax, is that a new requirement that we've had?
It's one that I found out since I took over in COVID, I didn't know if we can do that authority if, like, he owns the building and he wants the license, so we can ask for the taxes. Just like, Chad Junkins has come in and paid his taxes because I told him that he's come in and gave $10,000 this week for it.
And it doesn't matter whether it's just 1 year or multiple years?
Right, I didn't ask for the 25, I only asked for the 23 and 24, cause there's like 192 left on 23 taxes, and then 19,853 on 24 taxes.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve a malt, spirituous, and Venice liquor license for Dana Cassidy, doing business as Shogun Japanese Hibachi and Sushi at 150 LLC, once the 2023 and 2024 taxes are paid in full.
You did say approve the city clerk, right? I didn't think I heard that.
It says what, this, you read
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, I'll second it.
okay, motion made by Mike, seconded by Hank. Any further discussion? All of those in favor? 7-0, motion carries. Okay.
Yeah, no, he got it, I know sometimes it's.
On to item number 6.
I hear you.
We're looking for an approval of a marijuana license renewal to Daryl Richardson, doing business as Richardson Remedies, Presque LLC, with a location of 719 Main Street. And as far as I can tell with this application, everything looks to be in line and, seems to be okay. Sonia, would you agree with that?
Absolutely, Mr. Chair, approval is
Very-
recommended.
Very well. Anybody from the audience care to comment on this? Seeing none. Council, I'd look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve a marijuana license renewal to Daryl Richardson, doing business as Richardson Remedies Presque LLC, with a location of 719 Main Street.
Very well. We have a motion on the floor by Harold. Looking for a second.
Second.
Seconded by Tim. All of those in favor? 7-0, motion carries. Thanks, guys. Let's see, this brings us to, item number 7, sorry, I skipped that one. We're looking for, approval for revisions to Chapter 16 Land Use and Development Code. Sonia, would you like to run us through this one, please?
Certainly. So in your packet is a markup version of the Land Use and Development Code. Our Deputy of Economic and Innovation will come to the mic and talk with you about that tonight.
Great, thank you.
Evening, Council. So earlier this year, I was before you and talked a lot about the solar. These are the updates that we move forward with. Do you want me to run through them individually?
Or might as well.
Okay. So on the first page, we did update the standards, a couple of spacing standards. We turned the setback for front yards in the industrial zone down from 50 to 30. The right-of-ways in the industrial zone are quite wide already, so we felt that it just allows the business to use a little bit more of their property. We also increased or added a footnote, number 7, density exemption for residential uses shall be 7,000 square feet for the first unit and 1,000 square feet for additional units when no expansion to the building is proposed. What that does is allows a developer to increase units when they don't change the exterior of the building, when the building footprint. So it allows it to have more density. So, and then lot sizes out in the aircraft hazard zone, we turned them down from 60,000 to 1 acre to better match the ag zone, which is where most of that property is already located. So on the solar piece, when I was before you before, I did say that the piece that we probably needed to update was the buffering standards, and by and large, that is what we have updated. We did update setbacks, being one of the largest changes here is we require 1,200 feet from any residence for a solar site to be a solar electric generation facility to be sited. It has to be 1,200 feet from any residence. Doesn't matter what residence, with the exception of if it's the owner or leasee's property or dwelling. It doesn't have to be that far back.
Was there a setback provision, or was there something in place before the 1,200 feet distance?
I think we just enforced our standard setback, so it would have depended on the zone.
Good.
But,
Yep.
so,
What constitutes a solar generation facility versus somebody just doing it on their own home? Like, is there a kilowatts where it switches over?
no, generally we don't treat the residential pieces as a solar generation. Like, we don't hold them to the standards. Essentially, the systems are the same, but we don't hold them to the standards because you're mounting it on a roof for a lot of the time. We have seen some ground mount systems come in recently. We're still enforcing standard setbacks on those. They're considerably smaller. The big fields is what we're talking about here.
It might make sense in this to define, like, what is a big field, like, I think standard residential max is somewhere around 22 or 24 kW.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We do have a definition for it. I just don't have it in front of me.
Okay, no,
It
that's
is in the land use code.
Okay,
I just don't know it off the top of my head.
okay, oh, that's fine. I'll look it up.
You've also got paved roadway, 1,200 feet from a residence or a paved roadway.
Yep.
That's almost a quarter mile.
1320 is a quarter mile.
Yeah.
gonna see a hell of a lot less of these put up.
Oh, they'll just be farther up the road.
Well, there's not many properties that are more than a quarter mile long.
Bummer.
So the buffering standard is, like I said, is where we made some changes. We did in here, so you still have to comply with our standard buffering, except where the code may require it to be more restrictive. So if we happen to change something that becomes more restrictive than this, then that more restrictive will comply. We don't have to come back. So that's why a little bit of language in there. B, solar electric generation facilities shall provide a 40-foot wide buffer that contains a minimum of four staggered rows of evergreens and coniferous trees, plantings from the approved tree planting list on all sides, not including openings for gates and access ways. So we're requiring 4 rows of evergreen trees, staggered, not to allow big openings. This is really to block them from general view. Tree planting shall be a minimum of 6 feet tall and shall reach at least panel height within 5 years of planting. If existing natural vegetation is sufficient to screen the development, the applicant may request waiver. It's one of those, if they build it in the right place, they don't have to go through extra stuff. Tree plantings shall be installed before the panels and racking starts. And then tree planting shall have a 95% survival rate and shall be maintained for the life of the project. Openings larger than 10 feet wide that provide a clear view of the array in the buffer shall be replanted. And then lastly, in that section, tree plantings shall be selected from the approved list appendix of tree, and no one species shall make up more than 50% of the plantings.
So was this proposed by you or the planning board?
I put them in and then adjustments were made by the planning board.
So is the goal of this to really, like just philosophy-wise, to really restrict solar development and make it more expensive and harder for people to do it in the community?
There are some that are going to have that effect. Was that the intent? No, not necessarily. We've heard a lot of complaints about buffering and
Yeah.
people being able to see them. So the buffering piece is really that was the intent, for people not to see them.
Yeah.
So
No, and I understand, but like, you know, by adding 4 rows of trees around a facility and then having it be 1,200 feet off the road, you're probably adding 4 poles, like, you're adding tens of thousands of dollars of cost. So I just, if we want to see less of that,
And we do, I think. Well, that's the community keeps telling us.
Well, I would think if you're 1,200 feet from the road, are the trees really gonna do anything? It's gonna be tough to see it either way.
you'll still see trees out in the field.
Right, but
I
I'm saying, is
think-
that a bit overkill?
I think part of the spacing from the roadway would also be in an effort to help reduce potential glare to motorists.
Yeah, well, that's what the trees are. They grow them up 6 feet so that way they're even.
I understand that, but I mean, having the trees plus a 1,200-foot setback, I mean, these trees are expected to be within panel height
Yeah.
after 5 years, so I mean,
Right.
from between the time that the field is assembled, I mean, you've already got 5-foot tall trees there, or 6-foot tall trees there to begin with, but
So who's going to be maintaining the life of the trees?
it's up to the property owner.
They have to maintain them.
They've got to maintain it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are some trees that only reach certain heights.
Right.
That's just the way they're genetically engineered, I assume.
Mm.
And we do have a list, a handful of Appendix A. I believe you guys got that also.
Right,
It's part of it now.
yeah.
It's part of the updates. That list is designed for trees that grow quickly.
Yeah.
Although I don't know that they really, it's not our intent to necessarily cap the trees. They can trim the trees to keep them panel height.
Yeah.
We don't
Was
have any
it
problem with
stated
that.
in the land use code that the property owner or these companies were going to be the ones that are taking care of all this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, in, in here somewhere, it says they have to maintain them.
Article 2, Section 10.
Um, 40-foot wide minimum.
I mean, the only reason I ask is because I could be one of these solar companies. I can come in and I can fulfill all of this obligation, and then I can walk away because there's nothing really holding me to this.
So, right, we're gonna issue it, not a whole lot different than if you don't mow your lawn. We're gonna issue a notice of violation that you're in violation of this and go through the process. So, I mean,
For the owner.
are we gonna go out and measure every tree? No.
No.
The part of the reason for that, like, clear opening is storm damage. Like, so we maintain that you gotta have 95% last and so on, because after the first year, you have a disease come through and wipe out half the trees,
Right.
and they can go, well, we don't have to do anything. No, that's why we've done,
Yeah.
why we have some of the language we do. You have to maintain 95%. If we have a microburst that takes out a section of trees, probably gonna have panel damage too, but if it takes out a section of trees, we would expect them to replant. If they lose one in the row somewhere, probably not a big deal. But we do have some mechanism that we can work through it.
What are the potential penalties? Should they not?
It'd be standard land use code, so it's up to $2,500, and each day is a new violation. We have to take them to court though. So
$2,500 a day. fine.
a day.
Yeah.
It starts
Or up
at
to,
yeah, it's up to $2,500 a day. Obviously, it starts lower. The longer you disregard, then the more it'll cost you. In the construction piece, we did give them some use of pesticides, non-toxic or organic pesticides and herbicides may be used to prevent or address disease and pest infestations. And part of the reason that they're supposed to be non-toxic and organic targeting, because although we want the trees to survive and be healthy, they're also supposed to be dual use or co-use locations. That's an old standard. So a lot of people have chosen apiaries, which is just flowers and insects. We can't kill all the insects just because we want to protect the trees. We did put a piece in here for unused panels that are broken. They shall be removed from the property immediately during construction phase and with 90 days after it's been commissioned. So if they're damaged, get rid of them. That was our point there. Gates shall be oriented away from the primary view of the general public. What we're looking for there is to be put on the side. Instead of on the front side, we're going to move them around the side because you're going to have an opening, and that defeats the purpose of the buffer.
Tim, for the, discarding the damaged or unusable panels, is that something that's just for new construction going forward, or is that applicable to any solar field currently in operation, or is that something that's like grandfathered in? There's some solar fields around, they get
Yeah.
big old piles, unusable stuff
So we didn't
in the
necessarily
back corner.
specify one way or another. It's in the construction, and we do specify like unused and broken ones during construction to be immediately removed. Otherwise, you got 90 days. So, but we didn't specify like, oh, you were in before this standard. Like, so I think we would have teeth to say something and be like, hey, you got to move your panels now. You got 90 days to get rid of them.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
it's not that somebody won't challenge that.
Right,
but-
I understand, I'm just trying to,
And then the last piece was the decommissioning. So in here was decommissioning. So any project that's over 3 acres is picked up by DEP for decommissioning. We have not seen a project under 3 acres. So this has not been an issue, but at one point I realized that if we do, the city could be on the hook for decommissioning. So used all the same DEP language at the time. But we have beefed it up a little bit because there have been some reports out there of companies making their own decommissioning costs, and they're way underrated. So in an effort to curb that, projects must provide an independent decommissioning report to demonstrate that the total cost of the financial assurance is equal to the actual cost to decommission. Such report shall be updated every 15 years in subsequent 5-year reviews. Reports shall be provided from the list of approved firms, which is Appendix B. And then followed that is Appendix A and B, trees, and then the firms that go with it.
So Tim, I think where I fall on this, I think there's a lot of good stuff in here. I like the buffering part of it. Where I kind of am getting a little bit hung up on is the 1,200 feet from the paved road, a quarter of a mile from a paved road. What effects is that? What effect is that going to have on solar facilities coming in?
It's going to push them backwards, away from general public view. There's no doubt about that. I think we're going to struggle less with the roadways and more with dwellings. Dwellings already sit off the road to some degree. In the ag zone, you got to be back 40 feet. So you're going to add that to your 1,200. As an example, like just to kind of play with this and see how these would work out, on Arnold Brook Lake, I mapped out where we could actually put. Off the end of the dam, there's a ton of acreage that the city owns. We would be able to use about 7 acres to actually put up a solar field, which could be a respectable solar field.
Yeah, we gotta have like 300 acres to do that with a 1,200 foot setback.
So-
Because 200 feet by 200 feet is an acre.
Roughly.
So you're making it be 6 acres off, off the road if it's 200 feet wide.
So it was a triangle that, like, the way these properties came together, being 1,200 feet from the residences that are out there. That's how, like, that came to be. So do you need a ton of land? No, not necessarily. You just need it to be placed in the right spot.
I'm with you, Harold. Like, I agree with a lot of elements of this. I live across from an unbuffered solar field in a residential area. So I agree with a bunch of this, but I think the 1,200 foot setback from a residence or a road it eliminates the majority of the land and then adds so much cost that we won't get any solar fields in town. And someday we're gonna be sad we don't have local generation if we do this. That's,
Well, I think it's a good deterrent from having them in town, but I don't think it's.
well, we've already
all that
taken them out of
detrimental
the
for-
residential areas,
you know,
so that's been solved.
Well, but the other thing too, you gotta remember, there's some, significant research now that, having them near homes, that there is physical impairments for people's health, so I don't know that we want them that close to people's homes. I think that's a concern.
Who came up with a 1,200 foot number?
Planning board.
Planning board.
It was suggested from the planning board.
Okay, so,
And you guys are free to modify this.
Right.
So
So what would you feel would be a decent footage away from the road or from houses or anything else? 500, 600 feet, 400 feet?
Oh, I think 200 feet from the road is quite a distance, personally. If you want to be further away from homes, that's maybe another thing.
did the planning board, have any reasoning for that number, or did anybody see, were you part of that discussion?
I was, but I don't know if we ever got to a reasoning. So,
Just pull a number out of a hat.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure there was some reasoning behind the number.
Sure.
I don't know if it ever got to the point that it was explained.
I mean, 1,200 feet's probably like up to about Hillside from here. I guess you wouldn't be able to see them.
In doing it that distance, you're also creating a lot of unusable land, which I know there is the idea to not put this on farmland, but that's not prohibited, right?
No. So, in section 2 citing, if you through that section, we do have pieces that we can make them push it off of statewide importance farmland, and prime farmland and farmland of statewide importance. So when you site it on a space, on a property, they should be sited away from those. But if the whole property is prime farmland, we're not gonna say you can't put it on the farmland. It's still your property to do as you kind of wish with.
So do you think that a farmer is then going to farm that first 1,200 feet, bring all of his harvesters and planters and all that for 1,200 feet? No. So that's just taken out of production. And that would be on whatever side that setback is on. If there happens to be a house on either side, you've got that times 3 to 4 times. That 1,200 feet seems like something that someone threw at the wall and stuck the hardest. That,
Yeah, I think
I mean, that's just bizarre.
1,200 feet plus the trees. Like, I understand the need for the trees, and I think between the two, we could probably bring that back a little bit. If we're gonna require trees around it, like, I'd like to see some reasoning, and I'd like to actually look into it a little bit. Like, what are the physical, repercussions of having that close to home? Is that an actual study? Is that an actual thing, or is that just a theory? Is that factored into this? Because that may make my decision. So, yeah, that's where I don't know. I don't have a problem with any of this other stuff, but I'm with everybody else on this 1,200 feet.
I mean, even if you were to compare other somewhat unsightly areas and setbacks, like say a junkyard, for example, some may consider that unsightly. Is that doesn't have anything specific other than needing a fence that is a certain height that is you can't see through.
Right. To my knowledge, there's no, we don't allow new junkyards, so it's just the ones that are there. And there is this provision to be buffered, but I think a fence that you can't see through will qualify.
So, just kind of quickly researching on the internet here, what I could find, it's this large-scale community solar projects have much stricter setback requirements to mitigate visual noise impacts on neighboring residents, and area setbacks in residential dwellings for large solar farms can be 500 feet or more, and usually include extensive buffering with natural or landscape screening commonly required to minimize visual impact. So I think we're on the right track, but maybe the 1,200's excessive.
Would you like us to take this back to the planning board and revise that setback?
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
is most of the rest of the document something that would align with
Yeah,
what you would want to see happen?
I think everything is good. I mean, just if we have reasoning for where they come up with the 1,200, and if we can actually look to modify that.
So here's Go Solar State of Florida. This is kind of interesting one. It says,
Florida.
solar farms are becoming more and more prevalent. What is a safe distance to live from a solar farm? It's still, general solar farms are required to be built at least 1.86 miles from residential areas. It's a good idea to know if operation of a large-scale farm or a small-scale farm. Typically, it's recommended to live at least 500 meters or a third of a mile, 1,640 feet from large-scale farms, and 656 feet from small-scale farms. And then it talks about potential risks living near them, mainly being starting out with noise concerns because electric inverters and sound from the farms, glare and light pollution because of the farm, possible exposure to EMFs, and
Yeah, the only other thing I could think of would be like maybe heat.
yeah.
You know what I mean, but that's about
So
it.
that's, I guess those are some of the things from the state of Florida on their particular ones, so. But, they seem to be in that same range.
Noise is a valid concern. I mean, I can hear the one across the road from my house. The heat, I don't know, there's been some studies on solar farms creating their own microclimate, if you will, within a certain area, which would be increased temperatures. So I mean, I don't know, maybe the 1,200 feet thing isn't totally out to lunch, but I mean, maybe we should just request, you know, what the planning board had for reasoning or thought.
Yeah.
Not that we're, you know, shooting it down or
Well,
questioning
and
their,
like you said, Tim,
their
document.
recommendation by no means. But it would be kind of neat to have us all on the same page for that reasoning.
Yeah, give us something to hang our hat on. that we can
I'm
say
more
makes
open
sense.
to the larger buffer from a resident, but I think 100 or 200 feet from a paved road is more than reasonable. That's just me.
Well, let's send it back and let's have them give us some reasoning for it, and, you know, it's not like we have to pass it tonight. I'll make a motion to table this for a month, and, give time for the planning board to comment on it.
I'll second it.
All right, we've got a motion to table made by Craig and seconded by Hank. Any further discussion?
Anything that is brought back, whether it be someone agrees or doesn't, I would just like as much justification as possible.
Right.
You know, if you come back with 3 different university studies that say 1,200 feet, then, okay, that's a different story than just saying 1,200 feet. You know what I mean?
Another thing that might be helpful too is if we could, you know, maybe some examples of, you know, you said you drafted one up. I'd be interested in just taking a look at what you've got.
Sounds good, great.
All right, all of those in favor? 7-0, motion passes. Okay, all right, we are on to our citizen comments portion of tonight's meeting. This is an opportunity from anybody in our community or the audience to address the council. And if you wish to do so, please come forward to the podium, state your name, and address us, if you will.
Good evening, council. My name's Kimberly Caldwell. I have Shelley McAtee. She's a friend and coworker, so she's here with me. I'm just here tonight just to address a couple of concerns in my neighborhood. I lived up here real quick. I've lived up here for 3 years now, up in Presque. I moved up here with my mom. We live on Judge Street. I live at 12 Judge Street. So the concern is 16 Judge Street, which is pretty bad at this point. We have known Matt Lovely. When we moved up there, he was very friendly with us. We never had any issues at first. But back in December of last year, we noticed a decline, even in his mental health. And Mom and I became concerned, you know. There were times where he would stay out in his truck and, geez, does he have any food? Well, Mom would order him food, you know. And so just this past year, and these are just a couple things I just want to highlight of my concerns, is there's a consistent accumulation of trash on the property that's being left. It's not properly contained. Garbage left in piles over the property, leading to strong odors, creating an environment that attracts pests. We now have flies, gnats, rodents are present in our own home. And our own home has become infested with mice this past summer, and flies. And now we even have the gnats where my mom is 75 years old. She likes to sit out during the day and in her yard and enjoy it, and she can't because there's just gnats that are just everywhere. So, and then the condition of the yard over there, it's overgrown grass, it's standing water, and this contributes further to unhealthy environment. These conditions, I believe, pose a public health risk due to bacteria. The gnats, they don't bite, but they carry bacteria when they land on you. And so it spreads from the garbage. If the outside of this house, of his property, looks this bad, as you can see in the pictures, I can only imagine what the inside looks like. The windows are broken. There's no running water. They shut the electricity off. And he's been using the bathroom in there. So we can just only imagine what it's like in there. Rotting food. So there's been numerous calls to Jason Perry by my mother, Donna Merriman. And on August 21st, I put a call in and I spoke with Tim St. Peter. I also wrote an email Shelley has copies that I sent here to the city of my concerns. Also, there's been numerous calls to the police department because my mother and I felt unsafe due to Matt's unstable mental health. I was advised by the police to install video cameras. And this is not my only concern. There's ongoing legal issues between Rebecca Trombley and Alan Trombley that own the home with Matt. And they're doing nothing to clean this up at all. In the meantime, Matt's living in his truck on the property, which I feel raises serious safety concerns and even frightening for those who live in the neighborhood around there. This has just continued long enough. It's affecting the health and conditions of both my mother and myself. In the end, we aren't cold and heartless people. However, the unsanitary conditions at 12 Judge Street are far beyond what is safe and reasonable. We have tried to be compassionate and understanding, but the situation has reached a point where it's no longer manageable or safe. We feel powerless watching this happen day after day, and it's taken a real toll on our mental health. Action must be taken. Another week, months, it's just far too long for us to wait any longer. We've waited too long. So I respectfully ask the city of Presque to address this issue so that the residents in the neighborhood on Judge Street and my mother and myself can feel comfortable, in their own homes, they're safe. There's no pests. There's no, living next to garbage. That's our view, is garbage. And, I think the city dump is a lot more cleaner than this property, so.
Explain that the police have been called numerous times as well, and what happened
Yeah.
today too.
So the police have been, like I said, they've been called numerous times. And I do have video cameras up. Today, my mother has sent me pictures. I couldn't print them. They're on my phone, but he left. He walked over to our side door. Now, my mom's alone. I'm at work. And she said, Matt left a dish of beans and a biscuit right on the front door. And I do have pictures. And then he has a Walmart carriage, a shopping cart on our property that is filled with wasted food. And there were bugs and flies all swarming around it. So it's just, and then also our back porch where my mother sits, we have a picnic table, and she has her plants on it. I don't know if you want to show this one, Shelley. The police officer seemed to think that it was, where's the one? Let me just get it. Those are the ones you can. There it is. The police, my mom showed the police officer, and he said, well, it could be an animal. What that looks like
So he came home.
does not look like an animal that would, there's no food out there.
So he's coming to her property.
He's now on our property. So the police today, the police today advise us to go to get a restraining order tomorrow. Only because, I'm concerned about my mom. She has a lot of health issues as it is. And to sit outside and those gnats land on her, it's bacteria. So she can't fight off, a lot of diseases and stuff. We've been patient, and I just don't know where to turn. So I wanted to come here and.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sonia, Tim, can we do more from a code standpoint? And maybe go visit?
So we've been to the neighborhood several times. We've spoken with the chief. I've had numerous conversations with Carrie. And we have listed all the things that we have done within all our legal ability. And the owners of the property are currently litigating this issue. It is a mental health issue, so it takes a little time to get to where we are, but I can absolutely agree that this is an unacceptable situation. And all legal possible things, including community code enforcement, have been offered, and we now have to wait for the legal,
For the process.
for the process. Yeah, and Tim could probably add some more to that and what we have done.
What would be legal process that's holding the property owner up from cleaning the property that the property owner owns?
So Tim can explain what has been done.
Or making it condemned.
So the property is currently condemned. It was condemned quite some time ago. We were informed that he was living in his vehicle. We don't have any evidence that was in the house, in the vehicle. The day I was there were blankets and stuff in the vehicle, so I took it at face value that he was staying in the vehicle. We don't have any prohibition of that. As weird as that might sound, there's no prohibition to sleeping in your vehicle. It has been posted, and we are seeking the dangerous building process. You guys will see it next month. So from there, we did reach out, issue property owners notice of violation, all that. We basically we were told they weren't going to do anything until he left, and they're working through that in the court system. So we'll expedite that by going through the dangerous building process with it, and if we need to, we will remove building.
But still, best case for them, that means at least 2 to 3 more months, correct? I mean,
So
I'm not saying that that's what it should be, but just to be
Right.
fair to you.
So if you guys make the determination in October, we'll move swiftly to acquire bids and stuff, but the typical process gives them 30 days to respond. In the situation, if we can, we'll lower that to maybe 15 days to respond. I have to find out if we can, or if there's by state law, if we have to give them 30 days. It's been our normal process to do 30 days. And then once that time frame's up, we will do whatever we need to do to get it cleaned up.
So who actually owns the house?
Rebecca Trombley is one that's listed on our tax cards.
Okay. And they said that they don't want to go in and have anyone go in and clean the property up.
Not until he's gone.
Okay, so,
And it sounds like they've been through the eviction process, but I don't know if it's gotten lost in between them and their lawyer. I was told they went through court. He's been evicted, but he hasn't been served, which all of that doesn't involve us.
Okay.
But even if somebody else owns the property, aren't they required to maintain it, clean it, take care of it?
Yep.
So,
In the conversation, we were told they weren't going to do anything until,
right, but regardless
But
of somebody
regardless-
being there, they still have a responsibility to clean up the property.
right. And if honestly, if they would have said, yes, we're going to go clean it up, we wouldn't have sought the dangerous building so quickly. But we issued the notice of violation, and then 3 days later, we served them for the dangerous building.
what do we do with people like this? It's freaking tough.
Give them a
I
hug.
mean,
But she's been doing all the proper
Hmm.
things. for
oh, I
months.
understand. I get that, but like, I mean,
So,
I grew
so
up with
that
this
way
guy,
another
and-
month, is that fair?
I mean,
I mean, I know there's a process.
he's on the.
Even if the building stands, we just want it cleaned up.
Well, no, I
No,
but I
we
understand
understand.
this guy is suffering from some serious issues, but what do we?
I guess the question that, and maybe we can address it with our attorney, but I guess, I guess I don't know. They say, well, we've got this requirement, you're the owner. I don't care who lives there. You can't just say, well, I'll get to it when I get to it. I mean, I guess that's the part that kind of
So-
got me a little.
Normal violation course would be we would issue two notices, and then we would seek court.
Right.
We would take them to court to get it rectified.
Right.
That's a months-long process in and itself.
Right.
In the end, it may get cleaned up. There'll be a fine, and if it doesn't, we're back to court. In my opinion, the dangerous building gets us a whole lot quicker. Even
Right, but you still got to find something to do with Matt. You got to get Matt
Yeah, I was gonna ask, if you tear the building down, doesn't mean he's gonna leave.
Right.
You know, Matt has to, Matt's probably the first thing that needs to happen.
But he hasn't done anything physical yet. He hasn't caused any
No.
harm yet. He's just living like a pig.
He's on the
So-
scanner all day, every day. I mean, he's consuming resources.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I get it. I get it. It's a
Well,
tough deal.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, I get what
I
you're
mean,
saying.
you can't
but-
just tell our citizens, tough, you know? I mean,
Well,
people are
well.
getting sick of that. But anyhow,
Hey, John Wayne.
so,
Are there,
well,
are there, you said fines?
Again, that's the same fine as the land use code,
Yeah.
up to $2,500 per day, and every day is a new violation.
Then that would be attached to the property owner, okay, and
The-
assets other than that property?
I don't believe so, but I think it would just be that property per that violation. Rick will be able to give you some more insight on that.
On a land use violation, the fines available or penalties that the court can impose are between $100 a day and $2,500 a day at the discretion of the court, depending on a variety of factors. That fine becomes a judgment against the property owner, and it can be assessed against that property and any other property that the owner has. The other thing you may want to consider is looking at the health and safety code, sanitation code, to see if there's some emergency powers the city would have to go in and clean it up, hire a contractor, clean it up, and assess that cost to the property owner. Because it sounds like it's a health hazard. It's not just a code violation.
Right.
If you have vermin, rats, garbage, insects, and all the rest, you get,
Waste
and
and
the
whatnot.
same would be true of the Braden Street property that we're gonna talk about later.
Rick, thank you. How does it change things that this gentleman is in the building?
Well, it
And-
sounds to me as though they've taken him to court, got a judgment for an eviction, and have not yet received what's called a writ of possession, which is a court order giving the owner possession and evicting the tenant. That is served on the tenant, and they have 48 hours to leave. If they don't, they're arrested for criminal trespass. So it sounds as though the holdup there maybe is at the courthouse,
Yeah.
which is not uncommon.
We would have no problem going in and cleaning up the place if it were empty. It's not empty. And we're waiting for this process to take place where this gentleman can be removed legally. And then we can very quickly go in and start cleaning up.
So is there any way to follow up with the courthouse to find out if these actually have taken place and what's going on with it at that point?
Yeah, I mean, we can inquire,
When
Do we
the-
know who the property owner's lawyer is? Al Harding? That would have been my guess.
when-
Trombley's have been a longtime clients of Alan's.
When do the fines start, or
As soon as the code violation letter is sent, that starts the clock.
and that was months ago?
So the most recent one was end of August, and it was August 25th.
Had there been before that?
So I don't see any prior to that, because the times we had visited before were, there wasn't any trash. The photos that we have, there's bits here, bits there, but there wasn't any accumulation of trash. Now, as you look through our photos, there is definitely an accumulation of trash, so it has gotten worse since spring when we were there.
And that is separate from the condemning of property?
Yeah, so it's condemned because it's got no utilities, you can't live in a building with no water and sewer.
But that, it's not related to fines or anything like that?
Right.
So
In the past, the city has hired guilds, I think. They have a crew that will go in and clean up a lot. I'd send law enforcement and the crew over and just tell Mr. Lovely we're here to clean up this lot.
So when were we first made aware of this? When's your first contact with us? When did you come and say there's a problem first time?
So my mom, I believe, talked with Jason Perry, and that was back, she said, I believe, in March. So in December, we started to see, Matt Lovely's, his that was in December. And then I would say more so in March and April, we started seeing things like he would take apart the mudroom in the back of the house, just, you know, taking apart his trucks. So everything was a slow process, like he would destroy things. His trucks have broken windows, everything. And then it would just progress, you know, and of course the lawn wasn't taken care of, so that's burdocks everywhere, overgrown, and so that's when we reported it in March. And my mother actually had, you know, had called all the time, to where, like, you know, something needs to get done. And that's, you know, and then that's when I had reached out and I spoke with Tim, and then of course I sent a letter to the city because we have just been way far over of being patient and you know, and now it's a health thing. You know, it's not a matter of the buildings. I don't care if the buildings can stand. It's just clean up everything. I mean, our house is filled with mice and flies. So I come home from work and have to vacuum mice feces out. You know, so.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, thank you, Kim. We got people working on this, and we'll try to get some result for you as soon as we can.
Thank you so much for hearing.
we took-
How will Kim find out who is she?
It'd probably be either Tim or the city manager.
Before the next meeting? Or the next?
Well,
We will update you with what we have learned and what we're able to do. Kim has my text. She uses
So
that.
we're looking at another 3.
Well, we don't know that.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this as quickly as possible. We're learning about it in the last 20
Okay.
minutes here, so we don't know yet, but we're gonna do all we can.
Okay, thank you.
We understand.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience that would like to address the council?
Well, one other just quick thing I just would say about this, you know,
Hold on, ladies, are you
yeah,
addressing them or us?
Well, them and anyone, just kind of as a note, you know, if this is going on at your home in the community, all of us are private citizens here in the community, have businesses. Walk in our door. You know, this is crap. You should not put up with this next to your home.
100%.
You know, I mean, you know, if
It
you
shouldn't get to this point.
you shouldn't get to this point. So, you know, if it's going on, come see us. That's why we're here. You know, this is awful. I'm embarrassed.
Disgusted.
Period.
Absolutely. Thanks again for coming in, really.
Thank you very much for hearing me. Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, seeing nobody else in the audience with any comments to address the council with, we did receive a couple of weeks back a letter from Jane Farron and Steve Freeman, which has been entered into record. And Kim, is there any other messages via email, social media,
No, nothing.
text or telegraph, anything? Okay, very well.
Mr. Chairman, actually, I did have a text earlier today that came through me just from a resident on
Well,
Edgemont Drive.
By all means.
So if I
Please share.
if I could just kind of quickly, let me just get to it here. Let's see here. Been a busy day. I've had all kinds of things. Just on Edgemont Drive in the mornings, 7:30 in the morning. Children are out for the bus, and the cars are speeding on that street, as they are in a lot of streets in town. And so the person is J. Lee Farley, and she just sent a note to us saying, you know, is there anything that we could do to promote police in the morning, just maybe checking on that area, or if there's anything we can do for speed bumps or speeding,
Yep.
or any kind of speed limit signs, because there doesn't apparently be any speed limit signs on the street that they can see. So, you know, not that that's an excuse, it's in town, people should know, but you know, if it, maybe it said 25, maybe that would help. too.
Sure.
So, that was just a comment.
No, and that was something that I was going to
Yep.
touch base on there later on here in the announcements
Yep.
portion. All right, very well. Everybody else all set? Okay, moving along to our consent agenda. Make sure I'm on the right page here, goodness. Okay. Item number 8 on our consent agenda would be to approve the minutes from August 6th, 2025 and August 20th, 2025. And item number 9 on our consent agenda would be to approve the warrants totaling $5,996,000 and $21. And also, item number 10 in the consent agenda would be to reappoint, the reappointment of Leslie Smart to the Presque Housing Authority. It's been recommended by the city manager to approve items 8 through 9, as I had just mentioned, in one motion. I'm sorry, 8 and 9 together and 10 separately, or however the council would wish to rip through our consent agenda items.
I've seen, there's a few mistakes in the minutes, so I'd recommend we pull those out separately.
Yeah, what did you find in the minutes, Mike?
It was listed that Doug abstained on a bunch of votes, but he was actually absent for those votes. So,
Okay,
We had asked that night, we thought we were calling it abstained because he wasn't here, but I can change that.
Abstention would not apply.
No,
yeah,
but-
abstention is something
Yeah.
you physically do. And then way down at the bottom, I mean, this is nitpicky, but, where is it? We had a vote of 7-0, so to go, the motion I made to go into executive session pursuant to 405(6)E, the vote says 7-0. That would have been a 5-0 vote, because we had 6 counselors and Doug was gone. So that vote should be 5-0.
Sorry about that. Okay.
good catch, Mike.
Other than that, it was fine.
I can change those. And you wanna say he was absent?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't abstain,
Yeah.
he was absent.
So our motion would,
Would it be 5-0 and then Doug absent?
It'd just be 5-0 because there's only 5 active
Okay.
counselors at the time.
Okay, so we don't need to have Doug's.
I make the motion that we approve the August 6, 2025 minutes, with the changes discussed.
How do August 20th?
You wouldn't- yeah.
And, yeah, and also, the August 20 minutes. Sorry.
Second?
okay, so the motion has been made by Mike and seconded by Craig to approve the minutes from August 6th, 2025 and August 20th, 2025 with the changes that Mike noted. Any further discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. So item number 9 would be looking for a motion to approve the warrants totaling $5,996,021.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we combine item 9 and 10 and approve the warrants and reappoint Leslie Smart to the Housing Authority.
Very well.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Craig and seconded by Hank. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0, motion carries. Okay, on to new business. We'll get on the right page here. New business. We're looking to approve our budget workshop calendar. This is, it says discussion only, but we can rattle through this schedule, and if it's something that fits us all, we can vote to accept it or not.
Sure, yep. Before you is a proposed calendar for our budget. 2026 discussions. And you can see that we've got the department heads lined up. And I stuck some extra budget workshops at the end if we have to have more time for deliberation.
Okay,
They look
well, good to me.
good to me. Would you like them read off, or you want to?
No,
Okay,
just
all
if
right,
you
that's
can
fine.
accept this as, yep.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we accept the budget calendar as proposed.
All right, we have a motion made by Craig to accept our budget calendar as proposed,
Second.
seconded by Tim. You guys have any further discussion? Any concerns, anything? All right, all those in favor? 7-0. That's our workshop calendar. Item number 12. We're looking to approve an amendment to the Rec and Parks bylaws. Let me see. In keeping with the council's desire to include conflict of interest clauses in board bylaws, included are the revised bylaws and conflict statement approved by the Recreation Board. So essentially, the amendment to the Rec and Parks bylaws is going to be the inclusion of the conflict and interest clauses. Is this correct, Sonia?
It is,
Pretty straightforward.
yep, it's the same language that we've used with other
Perfect.
boards.
Binder's coming apart here, my goodness.
I move we approve the amendment to the Rec and Park bylaws as presented.
All right, we have a motion made by Craig,
A second.
and seconded by Mike. Any further discussion? Seeing, what would you like to discuss?
Oh, no, I was ready to vote.
Oh, you're jumping the gun.
I was.
All of those in favor? 7-0. Thank you. Item number 13. We're looking to accept 24 Braden Street as a donation. Many of you know that this past winter, I believe, a gentleman had passed away in a house fire there, or as a result from injuries from a house fire there. Since then, the property is as it was when the emergency responders left. The heirs of the deceased, Melvin P. McNeil, wish to deed 24 Braden Street to the city of Presque. In our packet is the notarized letter requesting that action. This is, yeah, tough.
And Ms.
What's, Sonia, do you have anything to add to this? And I was just gonna ask what the wishes of the council are in regard to this, or should we consult with our,
Yep, so,
our
So
our
our-
legal consultant?
our legal consultant is here to walk you through the process for this.
So I spoke with the city manager this afternoon about this matter, and I alluded to it earlier, the Braden Street property. Mr. McNeil tragically died in a fire that destroyed his home. We are informed that he has a spouse. They may not have been together at the time of his passing, but he has other family. The problem with accepting a deed from the heirs is that if he died within 3 years, it should go through the probate process. There should be a personal representative of his estate appointed, or a special administrator, for the purpose of conveying that title to the city. We should also do a search to make sure there are no mortgages or liens or other encumbrances on the property, because then we would be taking it subject to those debts. So if the council votes to have us look into it and take action on it at your October meeting, we'd be glad to do that. In some cases, we appointed a special administrator. If families are unwilling or unable to probate an estate, we can go to the probate court as an interested party and ask the court to appoint a special administrator solely for the purpose of conveying the title to the real estate to the city. And the city would pay the special administrator for those services. In the past, I've used Brent York several times, very capable at this, and has been very helpful in dealing with families whether it's for the city or a bank or a credit union. So that there is a process that we can follow, but we cannot simply accept a deed from the heirs.
Okay,
Now, if more than 3 years had passed and we're beyond the statute of limitations to probate an estate, then we would need an affidavit identifying who the heirs are, and then a deed from each heir.
Do we even want this though? Because then we're gonna have to pay to clean up a burned down trailer.
well, so my concern is, I mean, with everything that Rick said, obviously is going to have to be done, but what's your this place needs to be cleaned up ASAP,
Right.
like 6 months ago.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, because if not,
So-
you're looking
so-
at similar health issues to what they were talking about.
do you not suggest that the city go in and immediately clean and remediate this property and then deal with everything
Yes.
else down the road? And if it comes to so-and-so still owns the property, which is well and fine, here's a bill that so-and-so has.
I
on this
recommend
property.
that the city clean up the property,
You do.
the same as I did on the Judge Street
Okay,
property.
okay.
It's a
And,
health
and
hazard.
worry about all
There
of
are
this stuff.
vermin, there are rats.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
Right.
Do you clean it up though, or do you demolish it?
It has
Yeah.
to be demolished.
It's gonna have to be,
It's gonna be a cleared lot.
whatever's left there needs to be hauled away. My understanding was it was a mobile home.
Yes.
It looks like.
So
it's
there's
an
probably a
addition.
frame and maybe an outbuilding or two.
Yeah.
We attempted to enter the building, but it's not
You
safe
gotta enter that
enough
building with an
to
excavator.
walk into.
Yeah.
So it cannot truly be cleaned up. It
needs to be
needs
just
to be removed.
I'm going to talk with Tim in the morning. Under Title 22, he's the health officer for the city. There are provisions under Title 22 to go in and clean up messes like these. You know, it's an
Yeah, 'cause we can't have-
emergency. You
yeah,
just can't have them sitting there for months.
No.
No,
That same thing could be discussed on the other property.
right.
Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Assuming there was no insurance then to finish
We don't know.
cleaning this?
We have no idea.
So would you like us to table this?
He was just
I'd like you
a little old
to
man or something.
vote to clean up the lot and to have the city manager and myself look into acquiring the property as a gift from the estate of Mr. McNeil.
Mr. Chair, I move we
So
clean up.
if we do go in and clean that up and make that salvageable, what's the expectation that the people, the heirs that own that, can now say, hey, look, you guys, thank you very much for cleaning that up. Now I'm going to,
We're gonna assess the property for the cleanup costs.
okay,
A
so we'd
special
still be,
assessment, just like we would for dangerous structure,
Right.
dangerous building.
so there would still be ways for us to, okay.
Yes.
Recover.
Mr. Chair, I move we clean up the property at 24 Braden Street and instruct the city manager to work with the city lawyer to research the possibility to accept 24 Braden Street as a donation.
Thank
I'll
you.
second it.
Motion made by Mike and seconded by Hank.
Hmm.
You guys have any further discussion? All right, all of those in favor? 7-0, all right.
Great.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, we need to get stuff like that cleaned up. It's, that's a big deal, for sure. All right, Sonia, it looks like you're with the manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to begin by acknowledging that we are working through some challenging issues as a city team right now. These moments are not easy, but they are important. They give us the chance to strengthen our organization, make sure our services remain strong, and ensure that we are accountable to the people of Presque Isle. Even in the middle of hard conversations, important work is moving forward. Public Works crews have been out paving. Our finance department is hard at work preparing next year's budget. At the Library and Recreation Department, we continue to see great participation in community programs, which is a reminder that people here value and use what we invest in. I also want to reassure both council and the public that I am committed to transparency as we work through these matters. Some of the decisions we face will be difficult, but they will be made fairly through process and with the long-term health of our city in mind. I'll close by thanking our staff for their dedication, our citizens for their engagement, and the council for your guidance. Together, we're navigating challenges, but we are also building opportunities that will serve Presque Isle well into the future. Thank you.
Sonia, thank you very much. Moving on, we have a few announcements that I'd like to go through. Going to start off with this one that Kim handed me earlier. The Aroostook Area Agency on Aging is partnering with the Maine Northern Railway for their annual train ride fundraiser on Saturday, September 27th. Traditionally, this event has been held closer to the holidays, but given that the train cars have no heat and that Aroostook fall leaves are hard to beat, the event will take place in late September this year. The 90-minute trip leaves from downtown Presque Isle at 8:30 a.m. and heads towards Squapan Lake area before reversing for the return journey. It should be an absolutely beautiful way to spend the morning. Tickets for this extremely popular event are $30 per person. Thanks to the generosity of the Northern Maine Railway, all proceeds benefit the agency. Tickets will be on sale online at noon on Tuesday, September 9th. A link to the ticket order form will be posted on AroostookAging.org, and we expect a fairly quick sellout, so don't delay. Yeah, and I might add, if you're interested in that, I'd probably get on it. I've done the holiday ride on that train. It's a fantastic time, and I think that their timing with the fall foliage is, weather permitting, going to be a perfect train ride. Moving on with more announcements, the Presque Isle Farmers Market Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Fall Community Cleanup Saturday is going to be held September 27th at 8 a.m. at Riverside Park. The city has the following employment vacancies. Public Works is looking for a truck driver. Fire Department is looking for a firefighter, EMT, and the Police Department is always looking for officers. We have the following vacancies for boards and committees. Rec and Parks, we're looking for 3 one-year alternates. The Assessment Review, we're looking for 1 one-year alternate. The Audit Committee, 1 4-year member. Downtown Revitalization, looking for 1 4-year member, and 2 years and 5 months remaining. So it's a partial membership. Membership. The Downtown TIF is looking for 1 one-year community member, and the Library Board is looking for 1 one-year alternate. Please see the city clerk for an application or apply online. Also, one other thing I'd like to bring to the public's attention is school is back in session. Please be very careful and use caution driving on your commutes. Always be on the lookout for children, pedestrians, school buses, quick stops, etc., etc. Along with that, we are heading into our fall harvest season, and you're going to encounter a lot of the same things that you're going to want to keep an eye out for. Slow traffic, machinery, equipment on the roads, vehicles turning, all of the above. Just please pay attention to your surroundings, slow down, and just keep your eyes peeled. Put your phone down, pay attention, and be safe. Our next scheduled meeting of the Presque Isle City Council will be on Thursday, September 25th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers at City Hall. Would anybody else like to add to any of that? Looks like we got her pretty well sealed up. With that, I would look for a motion to enter executive session pursuant to state statute 1 MRSA subsection 405-6C to discuss real estate, and
So moved.
405-6E to discuss attorney-client consultations.
So we move into executive session MRSA 405-6C to discuss real estate.
Motion made by